Hi everyone, welcome back to Clues by Sam. We have a medium one today. It's Tuesday. If you don't know what Clues by Sam is, it is a daily puzzle game where you have 20 people. They may be criminals or innocents, and you gotta use clues to figure out who is what, and you gotta do no guessing. I don't see the first clue today. If you wanna play the game, you can check the link in the description, but I'm gonna start mine now. Well, Logan is giving us our first clue, and he says that Olivia is one of his four criminal neighbors. Olivia is here. She's a criminal. Logan has eight criminals total, eight neighbors total, sorry, and four of them are criminal. Now, Olivia tells us that exactly two of her four innocent neighbors also neighbor Gabe. While Olivia also has eight neighbors total, and four of them are innocent, which also means that four of them are criminals, just like Logan's. Okay, so for two of four innocent neighbors also neighbor Gabe. Where's Gabe? Gabe is here. Well, Gabe and Olivia only share two neighbors, Logan and Kevin. We already know about Logan, who is an innocent. So there will be another innocent because it's two of them, and the other one can only be Kevin. So Kevin is an innocent here. Now Kevin tells us that there are no innocents to the left of Zed, neighboring Nicole. Nicole has two innocents that are to the left of Zed. And we know that neither of them are innocent. So neither Scott or Vicky are innocents. And I guess we don't need Kevin's clue anymore. But Olivia still has to have two more innocent neighbors that we haven't figured out. Now, Scott tells us that there's an odd number of criminals neighboring Vicky. We already know about two of Vicky's neighbors. She has five total, and two of them are already criminal. So there has to be at least one more, or maybe all of them. Oh, it couldn't be all of them because then if all of them were criminal, Olivia wouldn't have four innocent neighbors because the only one left would be Janet. So Vicky has one more criminal neighbor. Let's keep that in mind. Now, Vicky tells us that both criminals above Scott are connected. Scott is right beside her, and we know that in column A, which has all of the people that are above Scott, there's two criminals only, and both of them are connected. So, what does that tell us if we also go along with what we said about Olivia and Vicky? There's an odd number of criminals neighboring Vicky. So, let's say, so Vicky has to have one more criminal neighbor. If there were to be Nicole, that could happen because then Vicky would have two innocent neighbors who are here, Paula and Wanda. Olivia would have her four innocent neighbors, and Janet would be a criminal who would be connected to Nicole, who are both of them are above Scott. Right? Let's try to make Nicole an innocent then. If Nicole were an innocent, um, either Paula or Wanda would have to be a criminal, which is fine. The other one could be innocent. And now we know that Janet would have to be a criminal because Olivia has to have four criminal neighbors. But we would still need another criminal in column A, which would have to be Irwin. So, what does that tell us? It tells us that either both Janet and Nicole are criminal, or Janet and Irwin. So we know that Janet is always a criminal. And since the other criminal in this column above Scott has to be connected to Janet, Amy has to be an innocent. And we don't know about the rest of the people yet. But we know that either Nicole or Irwin are a criminal and the other one an innocent. I guess we don't need Olivia's clue, exactly two of her four innocent neighbors, also neighbor Gabe. I'm gonna keep it here because of the four innocent neighbor total part. Janet tells us that Vicky and Bruce have an equal number of criminal neighbors. Where's Bruce? Well, we know nothing about Bruce practically, so not much to know. Now, Amy tells us that all innocents in column C are connected. So, what does that tell us? It doesn't tell us a number of innocents, but it tells us that Paula has for sure to be an innocent. Because there has to be two innocents here. It's either gonna be both Paula and Wanda, or it has to be Paula and Nicole. Because if Wanda were an innocent and Paula a criminal, then innocents in column C would not be connected. Paula would be breaking them up. So Paula has to be an innocent for sure. Now we know that either Nicole or Wanda are an innocent and the other one a criminal. How do we figure that out? Thinking about Bruce having the same number of criminal neighbors as Scott. What does that tell us? Bruce has five neighbors total. Scott has three neighbors total. If Nicole is a criminal, Irwin is an innocent. And then all of these three people have to be criminals because Bruce has to have three criminal neighbors, which is the same as Scott in this situation. If it were to be the opposite, if Nicole were to be an innocent, Irwin would have to be a criminal. And now Bruce has to have two criminal neighbors. So someone else from here has to be a criminal. It couldn't be Gabe. Because if Gabe were a criminal and Chad an innocent, innocence in column C wouldn't be connected. But how do I know? Am I missing something? Ah, we know that Gabe has four criminal neighbors. So we gotta put that into the mixture. Damn. So let's review the scenario that I had before. Irwin being innocent. Nicole has three criminal neighbors. Scott has three criminal neighbors because Nicole's a criminal. So now Bruce has to have three criminal neighbors. And in this situation, Gabe has two and two. Mm. Then he could have two more here and two more here. So we don't know about any of these. If we went back to the scenario I had before, which is Nicole as an innocent, Irving is a criminal. Now, Bruce has to have one other criminal neighbor, and it can't be Gabe, like I said, because if Gabe were to be a criminal, it would break column C's innocence. I think I'm missing something. Because now either Frank or Chad are an innocent, and it doesn't make any difference for Gabe's total. This wouldn't change anything. So let's leave that and check out the other clues. All innocents in column C are connected. We don't have a number. Olivia is one of my four criminal neighbors. Okay, so Logan is also not restricting us because even if both Gabe and Frank are criminals, Olivia is only the third criminal in this situation. And if both Frank and Gabe are innocents, then Logan's total is still under control if all of these people are criminals. Now, if Frank were a criminal and Gabe an innocent, also doesn't change a thing. Logan's has three innocent neighbors, two criminal ones, and there could be two criminals here and one innocent. We don't know about that. So where do I have to look that I'm not looking at? There's an odd number of criminals neighboring Vicky. Yeah, but we don't know who. There are no instances left of Zed neighboring Nicole. Yeah, we don't need that clue anymore. Olivia is one of my four criminal neighbors. We don't know anything about Gabe's total. If we ignore Erwin and Nicole's situation, does that tell us something about Bruce? It doesn't. Because Scott has two criminal neighbors. I feel like I'm missing something that I shouldn't be. This is a medium one. Vicky and Bruce have an equal number of criminal neighbors. There's an odd number of Vicky. Why am I reading Scott? Why have I done that? What's wrong with me? Vicky has 5 neighbors total and Bruce has 5 neighbors total. And Vicky has, is it talking about criminals? Have an equal number of criminal neighbors. We know for sure that Vicky has 3 criminal neighbors. We just don't know who is the final one yet. But there's 3 total. So Bruce has to have 3 criminal neighbors. If Nicole were to be a criminal, let's start this from scratch. If Nicole were to be a criminal, Erwin would be an innocent, and then someone in here would have to be an innocent. No, they wouldn't, because there has to be 3 criminal neighbors. So these 3 would be criminals. I've gotten here before. But if Nicole were to be an innocent and Erwin a criminal, then 2 other people would have to be criminals and one of them an innocent. And if there were to be an innocent, it would be Gabe. Actually, we don't know if it would be Gabe. It could be Frank, and then both Chad and Gabe be criminals. So we know that in any case, Chad is a criminal. Oh, no, no. Why did I do all that? So, okay, these 3 people are related. Now, Chad tells us that row 4 has more innocents than any other row. Oh. In order for that to be true, both Nicole and Ryan have to be innocent. Because row 3 already has 2 innocents. So even if Nicole were an innocent, or even if Ryan were an innocent and the other one a criminal, both rows would have the same number, which is not more than the other. So both of these guys have to be innocents and Wanda a criminal and Erwin a criminal because of Nicole. Nice, nice. And I guess we don't need chat school, but it tells us that row 4 has more instances than any other, so I'm gonna leave it there. But now Erwin tells us that there are more criminals than innocents below Donna. Okay, so Donna is in the top of the last column. And we gotta think about Logan's total. Logan has to have 1 more innocent. If that innocent were to be in column D, where there's 2 people neighboring him, this would break Erwin's school because Erwin tells us there are more criminals than innocents below Donna. And there couldn't be more criminals because there's 4 people. If 2 of them are innocent, then there can only be 2 criminals, and that's not more criminals. That's the same number. So neither of these people are innocent. They are both criminal. And either Frank or Gabe are an innocent and the other one a criminal. Um oh, and by the same logic, Zed has to be a criminal as well. Because if he were an innocent, there would be 2 and 2, and that's the same number. So Zed has to be a criminal as well. And we don't need Earthwing's clue, I guess, anymore. Now Zed tells us that no guard has an innocent directly to the left of them. Where are all the guards? Chad's a guard, and he has someone to the left of him. He has to have a criminal to the left of him. So Bruce is a criminal. What other guards are there? I guess all of them we found out. So we don't need Zed School anymore. But Bruce tells us that there's only one criminal mech, and that is Maria. So we know that Donna, who is also a mechanic, is a criminal. Is an innocent, I meant, because Maria is our criminal. So we don't need Bruce's clue anymore. But now Maria, actually Donna tells us that she has only one innocent neighbor, and the only possibility for that is Gabe. So Gabe has to be an innocent and Frank a criminal. Okay. Had a little bit of a detour there, which was really weird. I just was reading the name completely wrong. I don't know why. What got me there, but maybe that's because I'm sick. But yeah, and all green today, a medium one, and 20 minutes and less. So that's a nice one. Good warm up for tomorrow's. That will be it for today. If you play the game, let me know your results. I'll be here tomorrow again with more clues by Sam. So subscribe to the channel if you want to see that, and I'll see you tomorrow.